What's up, guys? While this probably isn't going to be the game to end all games, I felt like, even though I took this match like 10 minutes ago, it's not the urgency of me trying to upload something speaking. It's that there was enough things happening in this match for you guys to be able to see how it works. Granted, it still does need a little bit more tweaks in terms of trainers and supporters, things like that. But I feel like for the most part, the Pokemon lineup is good to go. But how this deck works is it kind of revolves around Lucario's attack, which is Dimension Sphere, which says 30 plus another 20 for every one of your Pokemon in the Lost Zone. Now, if it was every Pokemon in the Lost Zone, you could benefit from that pretty good in some situations. But in this case, it is just your own Pokemon. And, well, we're kind of going to go ahead and jump into it. So I'm going to go ahead and lead off with Cleffa just because free treat and you're able to shuffle out your hands, things like that. I've stocked this deck full of Pokemon grabbing items just to make sure that Absol has something to spit into the Lost Zone with Vicious Claw, and Relicanth has a card that I would prefer to be in the Lost Zone with Prehistoric Wisdom. I don't think I zoom in on them until later, but I'll explain them as they come along. So he leads off with Pidovs, which is right off the bat, okay, you don't really see that often, whatever. This video is more going to be about what's going on my side of the field versus what's going on his. But his deck's interesting, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and Level Ball and get myself a Zorua, and then I'm going to go ahead and Great Ball on the next turn just to see if I can get a Pokemon. If I can, then great. If not, then whatever. What I probably should have done, I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe I'll just wait until next turn to Eek. That way I can keep the Zoroark, but I wasn't really satisfied with the amount of energy in my hand, and I really wanted to get the ball rolling soon, because I know if this deck doesn't, then it doesn't really get a lot of things done. But I'm going to go ahead and eke out my hand and see if I can come into some better things. I do draw an Absol and Relicanth, which is pretty nice. Gonna try to get the Absol built up as soon as possible, because Vicious Claw does 70 damage, but you need to put a Pokemon in the Lost Zone in order to do it. Don't really understand why it works like that. By normal standards, it's not a good attack at all. But for this deck, it's one of the only attacks that does it. But Absol does that, Relicanth does that, and he lets you draw 3 cards, so it kind of acts like a Sharon for an attack, as long as you put a card in the Lost Zone. In this case, you would prefer for it to be a Pokemon, so Lucario benefits from it the best. Lucario's just like, sup, you know, whatever you guys are going to do, that's fine. And then Mew is in here, like, I know you guys are probably getting sick of seeing Mew, but I can't stress enough how much this deck benefits from it. It makes it exponentially better, to be completely honest, just because Mew is like, so whatever anyone decides to put in the Lost Zone, I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage of right the fuck now. I have 2 Prism Energies in here just because that you actually go ahead and see one of them right now. But I believe on this turn, I'm going to go ahead and evolve Riolu into Lucario, put that Absol on the bench, put an energy on him, and I want to keep Relicanth in my hand so Absol has something to throw into the Lost Zone, and then Mew can benefit from it in case Mew has an opportunity to go for Prehistoric Wisdom to draw into cards and also spit something in there. It's great. So all these Pokemon that I'm putting into the Lost Zone, they're helping out Mew because he's getting access to more and more attacks. And they're also helping out Lucario and Mew. Mew if I happen to get a Lucario by going through said process. Lucario just in general, just because of the Dimension Sphere. Under no circumstances would I be using, I think the attack is Sky Uppercut on that thing. That is just a really stupid thing to do. But I keep zooming in on that thing, it's kind of whatever. I learned that it has 70 HP. That's enough for Absol to take out. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Vicious Claw, and then there goes my first thing into the Lost Zone. So this is not a 6-to-win kind of thing like you guys are used to seeing with the Gengar deck, how that doesn't attack at all, but it relies on the special card. This is an actually more offensively based Lost World deck, which doesn't really, it's not top tier at all or anything like that. I just thought it would be a fun idea. Which is kind of what happened with Skittles, and you guys didn't really end up liking that too much. So, I mean, if you guys like how this deck works, let me know. But by no means is it going to be anything you're going to be seeing every day, and because of that, you know, it's going to be a little bit harder to get games. But I played for a little bit this morning. I was basically just playing up against, like, fucking basic yellow for, like, 5 to 6 games. And then I finally got this one, and I was like, this is acceptable to explain how it works. And then on the next one, I can, like, absolutely swear that I'll get a good one. But as you can see, I have Vicious Claw, another Absol on there. That means Mew is able to keep up the Lost Zone hurling process offensively by going for Vicious Claws the entire time. What was it? There was a couple other cards I was looking for in terms of things that would put things into the Lost Zone. my Pokemon cards in specific, but the only thing I could really think of that interacts with the Lost Zone in general is Lost Remover, which is for special energies, and that doesn't benefit me at all because it's theirs. And then there's Zangoose, which picks a card out of their hand randomly. Now, if they change Lucario's text, that would be to my benefit greatly, but I can't really do anything about it. For now, as you can see, it's a Mienshao versus an Absol. I'm not at the advantage at all, but because I don't have even one damage counter on me, you know, I'm actually going to be able to live his Meditate if he does decide to go for it. But he doesn't, which is fine and dandy. Okay. For now, I'm going to put the Prism Energy on Mew, just so I'm able to go for the Vicious Claw. It's the energy put down for the turn, because why the fuck not? And then I see I have a Darkness Energy. The only thing that really benefits from that is, I believe, Absol. And then I think Zoroark maybe might benefit when he goes for Foul Play. I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me on it. I mean, he is a Dark type, and that is technically his attack that he's using, but he's using the opponent's attack. We didn't see Zoroark in this game, but I'll explain that on the next one. Just someone remind me in the comments or something. But game's chugging along at a tempo that I'm kind of liking, just because I'm getting a lot of things in the Lost Zone per turn. As you can see, I run dual balls, things like that, Pokemon collectors, just to make sure I have Pokemon in my hand for Absol to spit in there, and then Lucario kind of comes in the way he did in 4th gen, just to be like a late game sweeper kind of thing. And then Mew does the same job too, so I want to avoid putting Mews into the Lost Zone if at all possible. Just because they serve the same role, but -1 evolution thing. So Lucario doesn't really have a whole hell of a lot of HP either, but whatever. I'm going to go for the Pokemon Collector, since it's the only supporter I have in my hand. And I'm going to get myself 2 Mews and a Riolu. At this point, it's just whatever I decide to put in the Lost Zone is whatever. I feel like this deck could use more Pokemon, because after I put in like 5 or 6, things start to get pretty vulnerable. And at this point, a normal deck on the opponent's side of the field would be completely set up. So I really need to figure out what I can do here. I was like toying around with the idea of Trainer Lock in my head, and then just using pure collectors. Trainer Lock would benefit because it would ensure that the things on the bench that I'm trying to get set up are able to get set up, but at the same time, I don't know, there's just a lot of trainers and shit, and it doesn't make sure that I get the cards I want in my hand. So, you know, it's reliably, just because, you know, I wouldn't be using Level Ball or Great Ball or Dual Ball or anything like that. I'm not 100% on that. But on the other hand, it would give me things to spit into the Lost Zone just for Lucario after I get the Vileplume set up. So I don't know yet. I'm just still looking for ideas to make this deck better. And as of now, since I played this like 10 minutes ago, this is the build I'm sitting on at the moment. It's not anywhere near finalized, but it gets the job done, is what I'm trying to say. So, go for another Vicious Claw. I believe my Lost Zone count at the moment is 4. So that's plus 80 to Lucario's Dimension Sphere, putting it at 110, and then I gotta choose a trigger. I believe he double experience share on one poke or something happened. I don't know. But his Mienshao died, and then he gets like 2 energies on it from the discard pile. Just like, what the shit? I'm pretty sure that's broken. You're only allowed to get 1, but whatever. Evolves that thing into Hippowdon, that kind of shit. I'm kind of at a disadvantage in terms of type-wise, but at the same time, it's like, I'm waiting on Absol to die. I'm not going to send in Zaru until it's a Zoroark anyways, and that kind of thing. So, I don't put down Battle City, which is in my hand either. It's a stadium card, but I feel like he would get a lot more benefit from me than I would. So we'll just kind of see what's going from there. But Mienfoo has 40 HP owing to the Eye of Disaster on Absol. It's a Poke Power, and when Absol is your active Pokemon, whenever they put down a basic Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on it, which kind of helps to take out these lower HP basics and ensure kills with Vicious Claw and things like that. Since not a lot of fucking Pokemon besides legendaries and stuff have more than 90 HPS, you know, barring things like Kyurem, Zekrom, other things like that in that vein. But just like regular old non-legendary dudes, most of them have below 90. So that's what we got. What do I got? Lost Zone count is at 5, meaning that Dimension Sphere on Lucario is at 130. So things are going about to be, you know, just the way I want them to be. Mew is able to use Prehistoric Wisdom and Vicious Claw and Dimension Sphere. And I do have another Mew in my hand in a double colorless energy, so I can Dimension Sphere immediately after that Lucario dies, if that's what it comes to. But I do still have the prize lead, so I'm not really too concerned. I'm looking to see if he's going to put down any basics, because I can Oko this thing next turn and just end the game one turn early if that's what's going to happen. But he puts down the old Terrakion, which is the Sacred Sword or things like that. What is the new one? The new one is Land Crush. Land Crush and Retaliate. People like to use that one, not that one, the other one. But he puts down a Riolu, and then he puts down a Mienfoo. So I think he just got a bunch of booster packs and then just put everything together of the same type. Because in terms of synergy, doesn't really work out. But like I said, just kind of focus on my side of the field while I explain what's going on to you. So I personally would have gone for the Sand Bazooka, or the first attack that would let him put an energy on the Terrakion. That would make it be a little more efficient. But going to put down a Mew, put down a DCE on said Mew so it is able to Dimension Sphere. And as you can see, that does 130, so that's pretty good. If you can get the Mews going late game too, then that's pretty cool. But I have the maximum amount of DCEs in this deck. Benefits Zoroark, since Foul Play is 2 double colorless. Benefits Lucario and any Mews if a Lucario is in the Lost Zone, since Dimension Sphere is also 2 double colorless. Relicanth's Retreat cost is 2 energies. So that's what we got going on. I also run 1 switch in this deck just for the sole purpose of being able to Junk Arm form. And I don't really run too much, but for now it's Lucario versus Lucario, which I found kind of cool. That is the other Lucario. Got a little bit more HP, I believe, and it does a little bit more damage if you don't get a setup. And I believe we're getting closer to the end of the game, so I'm just going to go ahead and Dimension Sphere. And Special Lucario takes out Physical Lucario. No, that was also special. I guess by game saying is because he had Aura Sphere. So I had Dimension Sphere, and that took him out for the win. So that's kind of how that deck works. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, you're welcome to leave a comment. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is you do it, that kind of thing. And I will probably check comments when I get back, that kind of thing. Let me think. I don't really think I have anything else to say at this point. So let me know if you like this deck. If not, then I can just as easily go to something else or try to build something a little bit more in a main standard vein. But I like to have some fun decks, and I figured this one would be a fun one to toy around with. Anyways, that's my time, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.